All right, today we're going to dive into something really powerful. We're talking about a four-stage process for some deep, transformative healing. And look, this isn't just about feeling a little bit better. This is about a complete spiritual renewal, a total reset of your inner world. So let me ask you a question right off the bat. What if you had this massive inheritance just waiting for you, but you went through your entire life acting like you had absolutely nothing? It sounds kind of crazy, right? But that idea gets right to the heart of what we're exploring today. There's this incredible spiritual wealth that so many of us, well, we just never claim it. As a truth walker, there's actually a name for this condition. It's called being an ignorant heir. Think about that for a second. It's someone who is a child of God, who has full legal rights to this huge spiritual inheritance, but they're just completely unaware of it. So they're operating in this state of, well, it's called functional nudity. They're lacking the very divine resources they already possess. And that is the core problem that truly needs healing.
Okay, so what if you could find a solution? Imagine going to a doctor for a simple headache, and instead of just handing you a pill, they look at you and say, hey, let's not just patch this up, let's heal your entire body, from the inside out. I mean, wow, right? That's a super doctor. And this is the central metaphor we're going to be working with. The Father acts as this super doctor, ready to heal not just the symptoms, but the real root cause of our spiritual sickness.
So what's the treatment plan from this super doctor? Well, as a truth walker, this is what's known as the truth process, and it's a super clear four-stage path to total renewal. First, we start with revelation. Then comes the main event, the operation of reproof. After that, we have correction, and finally, we wrap up with instruction in righteousness. This is our roadmap for the journey ahead. All right, so our journey begins with that very first step, revelation. This, my friends, is where the light gets turned on. Revelation. It's that incredible aha moment. It's when the Holy Spirit just flips a switch and illuminates the truth, opening the eyes of your understanding. And for the very first time, you actually see the reality of your inheritance. And even more importantly, you see the promise of complete and total healing. And guess what? That promise is actually in writing. You can think of it like the super doctor's legally binding contract with you. It's a promise for complete sanctification. We're talking spirit, soul, and body. This isn't some maybe or a we'll see. No, this is a guaranteed commitment. So that first step is all about just receiving this incredible promise. But, we've all been there. Having a promise and actually experiencing the reality of it, well, those can be two very different things, can't they? And that brings us to the most critical part of this whole process, the actual operation itself. And this raises a really deep, personal question for a lot of us. I mean, have you ever held onto a promise, felt really hopeful about it, but you still feel like you're in chains? The pain is still there, the problem is still there, the situation hasn't changed. So what gives? Why is there this massive gap between the promise we're holding and the reality we're living? Okay, here's the key distinction, and this is so important to get. Revelation gives you the doctor's promise. That brings peace, it brings hope, but reproof is the surgery itself. See, the promise is what gets you into the operating room, but it's not the operation. So what in the world is reproof? Well, it's described as the explosion of sanctification. Whoa, this is that moment of divine intervention where the super doctor literally goes in and surgically removes the root disease of the old nature. We're talking about a powerful, decisive moment of foundational change. And what's the result of all this? This right here. The chains are broken. Period. The Father, who is always faithful, completes the very healing he promised. You are finally set free from what was holding you back for so long, free to be made into the likeness of Jesus. So, the surgery was a success. The old disease is gone, but now we move into the recovery and rehabilitation phase. This is where the healing really gets integrated into our very being. See, after the old stuff is removed, the doctor doesn't just leave you empty. No way. He installs a brand new operating system. This is called the Code of Life. And what is it? It's the laws of God. But they're no longer just some external rules you have to follow. Instead, they are written by the Holy Spirit directly onto your heart and your mind, becoming your new default nature. And listen, this isn't just some nice, fluffy idea. It's the fulfillment of a new covenant promise. The truth literally moves from being something you just think about in your mind to something that is written in your heart. It actually becomes who you are. And that brings us to the final, and you could argue, the most important stage of all. Once you're healed and you've been reprogrammed with this new code, you start to function in a completely new identity. The key thing to see here is this incredible transformation from being a spiritual consumer to becoming a fountain. Before, right, as that ignorant heir, you might be like a funnel, just passively trying to get benefits from God for your own comfort. But after the truth process, everything changes. You become a fountain, operating from this place of inner fullness and union with Christ. You start giving life and divine resources to everyone and everything around you. You stop being just a patient and you start becoming living evidence. And this is why this whole process matters so much. The ultimate purpose of your healing, it isn't just about you. It's not just for your own comfort or benefit. It's to sanctify you, to make you whole, so you can become a pure channel for God's life to flow through you to everyone else. So, let's just end with this one question for you to think about. When people look at your life, your actions, your words, your very presence, what is it evidence of? Are you living as a funnel? Or have you become a fountain?